We are picking up on example 8 and 9 from the note package. You should have already done questions 6 and 7. So just a quick review of our different law of logarithms. We have 3 different ones. The first one is if you have the same base, like we do in the first one, which is x. If you have the same base and you're adding, then you can multiply the arguments. So I'm going to do that first step first, right here. Log 10 plus log 75. And if I want to write it as a single logarithm, which is what the question is asking, I'm going to write log 10 times 75. Okay, I can do the next part as well because it's in brackets, so it's going to be log x 10 times 75 minus log x 2 times 3. Okay, we're getting close. Now we are down to 2 logarithms, and I notice that there is a subtraction sign. That brings us to our next law. Our next law is if there is a subtraction sign, we can divide the logarithm. So this is going to be equal to log base x 10 times 75 on top divided by 2 times 3. Now, we can type that into our calculator. 10 times 75 is 750. 750 divided by 6. And our final simplified form is log x of 125. Okay, so that would be your final answer. That'd be what I'd be looking for when it says write as a single logarithm because we have one log instead of the 4 that we started with. Okay, now it says evaluate if x equals 5. Log 5 of 125. I can tell just by looking at it that the answer is 3 because 5 to the power of what equals 125? Well, that's 3. Okay, the more practice you get, the better you'll get at questions like that. All right, example 9. This is a multiple choice question. The expression log 2x plus log 2x minus log 2x squared is equivalent to. So let's apply our law of logarithms. The first thing I see is that I have a base of 2 and I'm adding the first one, which means I can actually multiply my arguments to simplify them. Okay, now I have to simplify a little bit. Thinking back, 2x times x actually gives us 2x squared minus log 2 of x squared. Now, since we have subtraction, we can divide. So it's going to be log 2x squared divided by x squared. Alright, I'm not really seeing anything close to the answers yet, and the reason for that is that we have to simplify. So the x squareds cancel each other out, and we're left with log 2 of 2. Okay, that's equal to 1 because 2 to the power of 1 equals 2. So the answer for that one is D. 2 more examples left. Use law of logarithms to write each of the following as a single logarithm. These are very popular diploma questions, so make sure that you are familiar with how to simplify. So the first thing that you always want to do is if there are coefficients, bring them in as powers. So that's the third law. So I'm going to bring my 1/2 in, I'm going to put it to the as an exponent on the 16. So I have log a of 16 to the power of 1/2 minus log a 8 to the power of 1/3. Okay, I'm now going to evaluate what 16 to the power of 1/2 is. If I type that in on my calculator, I will get 4 because raising something to the power of 1/2 is the same as square rooting it. Okay, 8 to the power of 1/3 is 2. Now I can use my second rule which states that if you are subtracting, you can divide. So it's going to be log A of 4 divided by 2, which is just log A of 2. All right, that's my final answer. To write as a single logarithm, that's what I would be looking for. Next one, now we're dealing with letters, but I'm going to deal with it the same way. I have log basis 10, and I'm going to put the 5 in for the E. Okay, kind of a trick that you can do for these ones. If you are subtracting, it goes on the bottom. If you're adding, it goes on the top. So my A starts on the top, but then the E to the power of 5 and my A squared are both going to go on the bottom since they're both being subtracted. That should say log. Okay, and that would be almost simplified. The only thing I can do is cancel off one of my A's. So my final answer is log 1 over e to the 5th A. All right, let's do A together, and then you can try B and C on your own. So first thing I do is bring in my coefficients. Log 2 of 2 to the power of 4 minus log 2 of 64 to the power of 1/3. Then I'm going to evaluate. I get log 2 to the power of 4, I believe is 16. And 64 to the power of 1/3 is 4. Now that I've evaluated, I can use law number 2, which says that since it's subtraction, I'm going to divide my arguments. So we get log 2 of 4. 2 to the power of what equals 4? 2. So my answer is 2. Right, go ahead and try B and C, and then you can work on lesson 3 worksheet.